That's a little better.
Grid is live. Initiate.
Excellent!
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
Bogus.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
My name's Norman Bates.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I'm in, Mom.
Merry Christmas, movie house! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hi. It's Sunday, February 21st. This is episode 18 of the Sunday Evening Unwind. And I have very little energy tonight, but that's okay because we have other people here. Hello, PJ.
What's up, buddy? Like you, it's a little weird because I don't have all the energy that I normally have. It's been a fucking long week, and I'm about to go straight back into work because I still got stuff going on, but I wanted to hang out for a little bit and say hi.
Well, that's okay. Something fell.
Yeah, I saw that. That was fun.
What fell?
Your light.
Oh, that's not good. Something fell.
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Happy Sunday. Things fall out of the sky.
So welcome to the Unwind. We have quite an array of guests. Real quickly, before I introduce these magical, beautiful faces one by one and let them talk while I don't talk, let's talk about some of the things we have coming up.
Do we do things here?
Work the next few days. Tomorrow, Monday, we're doing a double feature watch-along of Eddie the Eagle and Cool Runnings. Both of these films are available on Disney+. Disney, that's a word you'll probably be hearing a lot tonight. We'll probably start this about an hour earlier than our normal time at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And the fun thing about these movies is they both take place at the Winter Olympics in the same year. In fact, in Eddie the Eagle, they do mention the Jamaican bobsled team, so be sure to come hang out with us for those beautiful films. Then on Wednesday, we delayed suddenly soundtracks last week because of what was going on in Texas. But we will be back this Wednesday to talk pop punk. Tim Franco is taking over from Chris Clark, who doesn't care about pop punk. Really cool panel. It's going to be a fun show. Then on Thursday, we do have Front Center Mez. I don't have a thumbnail yet, and I'm not announcing. Well, I sort of mentioned the guest, but on Monday, tomorrow, we'll start promoting that. But this is a Front Center Mez week. And then on Friday, it's a patron pick voted watch along. We're doing Stardust with Michelle Pfeiffer.
I believe Charlie Cox of Daredevil fame.
Yes, Charlie Cox. One final note, next week is Book Nook 2, so make sure you have your copy of Tomi Adeyemi's Children of Blood and Bone. You still have time to read it if you haven't gotten yet. It's a terrific book. Dwayne and I are excited to talk to you about this next Tuesday. And as the rumors are true, we do have a Patreon. Check it out and see if there's a tier that's right for you. And I'd like to give a special thanks to all of our patrons, our executive producers, Brandy Parker, Brandon Buckingham, and Ricardo Franco, our gold producer, Sean Wingblade, and our producers, Mike Kay, Stephen White, Kale the Youth Critic, Bador, Jake Berlin, Anton Pucher, Tyler Birch, Patricia Carrillo, Chris Pokernoy, She-Ra Potato, and Molly Damon. We could not do this without you. And yes, this week is really exciting because we have the new episode of Voxbox. Voxbox 6, Heart-Shaped Voxbox, will be dropping this week. So get excited for that. I know that's a lot of people's favorite show we do here, and I'm really proud of this one. And
can I just say that I appreciate that we have become the Curb Your Enthusiasm of unboxing videos? Just saying.
Okay, we have guests.
All right.
I am not in the mood for lavish introductions.
Well, look at this one. He's already waving. Hi, Sean.
I don't think Voxbox is actually about unboxing stuff.
It's probably true. We also have Tim. Hi, Tim.
Voxbox is about the creeping existential dread as you get closer and closer to facing down the end of life's tunnel, and the hijinks that you can engage in upon the way to make it a little less morose and painful.
You're introducing me now, but I'm very excited about the dog that just entered into Tim's room. So I love that introduction.
He's the Yeti. He's actually the Yeti.
I have a dog here too.
Hi, Amber.
Hi. Or I could be like Sean, just like.
And Ellie's
but I
here.
jingle when I do.
Hi, Ellie. Look at all these fine people that you're here to talk about theme parks with tonight, everybody.
Don't worry, this screen will be a lot less crowded in a little bit. I got
two of us have to hop off here for a second, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to see
This
all
is
of you
exactly
guys.
what I said. Box predicts your death. Exactly
So
what
it's
I
the
said.
box. Okay, perfect.
The good news is I will be replaced by Jill as soon as that other show's over.
Yep. But I just wanted to say, like, I obviously love theme parks. I worked in a theme park for 5 years and had a really great time doing it. And you never, it's a lot of fun, man. I liked working at Disney, and you learn all sorts of things working in theme parks, and I love it for that reason. But I can't wait to listen to you guys start talking about this while I'm doing other things.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. How is everybody?
Chilling. Might have ended up in a StreamYard until 3:40 this morning. Never happens around here.
Not around here. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Never.
Are you
good?
Vanna whiting the logo?
I'm trying to smash it.
Just like
Smash it. Move it out of the way.
I hope you guys all have a great time. I just wanted to come say hi and just hope that you're all doing well. Thank you guys for all being great. And for everyone who's watching, show everyone on here some love. Look at Amber and Tree and Ellie are all here, and I guess Sean is here too. So, there's that.
Yeah.
But Maxwell, I leave it in your always capable hands.
Oh.
Good luck.
Oh.
This is like the beginning of any good theme park attraction, where it all seems like it's going to be fine, and then something goes wrong.
Is there a gift shop at the end? Do we get to buy things? Yes.
So, we're going to travel back to the Cretaceous period. Unfortunately, my supervisor has restricted access, but we're in. Fine. We normally start this show by talking about everyone's individual week in pop culture, but instead of going round and round and taking a long time, let's do it this way so we can get to the good stuff. Does anyone have anything they watched or played or read in particular that they want to talk about this week?
Other than Star Wars?
Yeah, Sean, no one cares.
Yeah.
I mentioned it already on our watch along on Friday, but or whatever. I don't know when that was. Yeah, Friday. I watched Nomadland, and it's great. So
I watched that last night.
I would say watch that if you haven't. It's incredible. So that's really the only thing I care to mention.
I did what everybody else did and watched WandaVision. Because, it was Agatha all.
I watched for the first time Mulholland Drive, and then I watched a 25-minute video explaining Mulholland Drive.
She's so
There's a lot to that
perfect.
movie.
I finished the book that I was reading last week when we talked, and now I started A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah Moss, and I am so excited for it. It's like the 5th book in a series that I love.
Is the first one the Ember of Ashes?
No, it's A Court of Thorn and Roses.
Oh,
I've heard of that.
It's real good. The new one came out, and I was literally holding it on camera last night. It's like, it's so big. It's like so dark. And they were like, that's a lot of book. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to lay in bed and try. I'm going to do this.
It's always tough when a big new book is hardcover.
I love it, though. Other than that, I watched more Long Way Down tonight. Ewan McGregor, yeah. I'm waiting. He's frozen. Or dead.
No, he's just moving very slow. Liz, did you watch anything fun this week?
No, I didn't. Actually, no. Did we watch anything this week? We watched a lot of Criminal Minds.
We watched The Map of Tiny Perfect Things.
You watched that. I did not watch that.
I like that. And we watched I Care a Lot.
I also watched that yesterday.
I Care a Lot. It was an interesting movie. I don't know how I felt at the end of it.
Yeah, I would say I can appreciate why they chose the ending that they did for the story's purposes. I personally wanted to see something different happen at the end. And I think if you've seen it, you kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. But I don't want to, since it's so new, I don't want to go into more details and spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
I don't want to spoil it. We'll be open. I might sound like an echo because I'm being picked off of Max's mic for a little bit.
Can everyone hear her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
she sounds great.
We'll throw it to mine when Max steps away. But it was one of those where I didn't know who I was supposed to root for.
You don't need someone to root for in a movie. It just has to be interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That like Max and I had a conversation about that, and it's definitely a movie you go for the journey and not like rooting for someone to be the good guy or the bad guy.
The movie it most reminded me of was American Psycho.
Yeah.
In its own weird way, you're watching truly horrible people, which is sort of a very dark satire of American capitalism. So the only thing you're supposed to root for is how terrible America is and how people get away with murder, literally, by twisting the system and taking advantage of those who are disadvantaged. So it's not an easy watch, even not an easy watch, even though it's quite fun in parts. But yeah. But Rosamund Pike's amazing. I've been waiting for her to get another role this good since Gone Girl, and she finally got it. So yeah, good stuff.
Oh, I watched some like Schmodown thing. I don't know. Was that a thing?
That happened.
There's something that was this week. You know,
something happened. People won. People lost.
There was a belt.
Am I getting
Hearts
shot
were
again?
broken.
I was like, did I do a thing?
No, this is a 1995 Power of the Force.
If I I'm wearing a lightsaber necklace, I'll just like fight you.
This was one of the last Kenner toys released for the Star Wars line. I was gifted it by a customer today, and he's quite cute.
That's adorable.
I had him as a child.
So it's no secret that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 people on the screen are big theme park fans.
One we're gonna turn into.
So what I would love is for everyone to give their theme park story. Like if this was the origin story of your life, why do you love theme parks?
All right. Well,
how
I'll
often
start.
do you go? You're the 1 out of 6, but go ahead, fine.
I'll start because I got to go do a thing. Look, I love theme park. Galaxy's Edge is a magical, mystical experience. It is esoteric. It is euphoric, orgasmic. Some would say.
It's a fair statement.
I cried as an adult.
I do that a lot in theme parks. So
I cried tears. But no, I grew up in theme parks. My family actually, I will not say which because they no longer own it. But I have connections to a certain Southern California theme park. I actually have a connection to 2 of the 4 Southern California theme parks. My uncle, may he rest in peace, was a architect for Disney. He was an Imagineer. So he did a lot of work on California Adventure when it opened. He did a lot of work on Disneyland Paris. Did a lot of work on a lot of that stuff. So I kind of grew up around a lot of it. One of my favorite pieces of art that my family owns. I know you guys see this silly art, but I've got other art in the house that I love a lot, and it's all from my uncle. So whenever I go to Disneyland, I get to think about my uncle a lot. But my favorite piece of art that we own from him is this rendition of Cinderella's castle. So I love Disneyland. I grew up in Disneyland. I grew up in Knott's Berry Farm. Yeah, but let me say, Galaxy's Edge. Oof, that's something else. Something else, man.
It's glorious. I can't disagree with that.
And Oga's Cantina is especially fantastic.
It's a place I haven't been to.
I'm a huge fan that they brought Rex back for that. As
Oh,
DJ.
yeah.
Like that was as soon as they
DJ Rex
announced
is
that,
so funny.
It brought me so much joy.
Has anyone been? Has everyone been to Trader Sam's in California or in downtown Disney?
Oh yes.
I've been on the outside, but not the inside at Disneyland.
Oh,
I went to the one here in Florida because we have one here in Florida.
When you come back down, Liz, we're out.
We're usually there when there's a lot of meetups and stuff, so it's hard to get inside. Like we normally go to LA for D23, and it's like getting Trader Sam's during D23 is just like you have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody to get inside. Like, but I've been on the patio.
I love that place. We got to get you inside the next time.
Yeah, inside's great.
Like Amber, I've been inside at Disney World because it's much larger at Disney World. So you're a lot like it's not just the couple of bar stools and the bar. There's like booths and stuff.
I had a friend who was a bartender there, and I got both of the pearls, so I'm really happy.
There's a good question in the chat. What's the first theme park attraction we're going to go on when we go post-COVID? I don't go to theme parks for the attraction. I go for the atmosphere.
Yeah, same here. Well, that's what I am now. When I was a kid, I was all about the attractions. Now, like I had an annual pass at Disneyland like back in 2019, and the best thing about it was going and not like we would go and like there'd be days like we would be there for like 2 days like over the course of a weekend, and we may have ridden like 3 rides in total over the two days that we were there because we were just doing other stuff. But now I understand like if you're paying full price to get in, you want to get your money's worth. But like that's kind of like the benefit of having a pass at some point in your life is you're not stressed out to ride everything.
I want to go on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Is that Florida?
I'm gonna cry considering the shirt I'm
It's
wearing.
new
right now.
in Florida.
I was supposed to arrive in Florida the day the parks closed because of COVID. Like that's when I was supposed to go back to Disney. So that's one of the attractions I haven't had a chance to ride yet. So yes, that's very high.
My husband got to do cast member previews, and I wasn't involved in this, so he got to go ride it, and I just was like, I'm boycotting.
Sean, by the time Disneyland is reopened, y'all's might be finished construction.
Are we gonna get it?
Right?
For us?
Yeah,
it's going
in
in
Toontown.
Going to Toontown.
Toontown.
It'll be in Toontown.
I didn't know it was going in there. That's awesome.
But now you have a reason to go to Toontown.
Well, I like I you know what? I haven't been to Toontown in so long because I think it closes at like 5
Excuse
or 6.
me, the Roger Rabbit ride is great. You take that back right now.
What is it? Like Roger Rabbit's
And you can
cartoon
always get a
thing?
fast pass for it.
It's fine. I'm not a spinner, so I don't like being on spinny rides like that. I get sick, so it's fine.
I love how Gina said in the chat, depends on what Amber wants to do first. Well, what Amber wants to do first is the ride that nobody will ride with me, which is the Tower of Terror.
Oh, I love Tower of Terror.
Well, it's not Tower of Terror anymore.
That's my number one.
I love Tower of Terror, but I'll probably go to Disneyland before I go to Disney World.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it still Tower of Terror in Florida?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
And ours is
It'll
really
forever be.
cool.
It was always better there. It's better there anyway.
Yeah, Disney World is better because it's not just the up and down shaft.
Yeah.
It has like a track that you ride through and you go through. Yes,
I
I
used
said
to
shaft.
work there.
You said up and down.
That was my first job in Florida.
While making a motion,
So, like-
I just now realized.
So the cool thing about the Florida Tower of Terror is that you can split the building down the middle. So if you have a downtime on one side, the other side can still run, which is why they're like, you might experience a longer wait. But there are 2 drop shafts. Yes, I said it. And 4 load lift shafts. So, yep. I will say it forever. I've literally crawled and climbed throughout the entire building. So I've been all the way to the top and watched illuminations from the cupola. It's full of wasps, scary as all get out. I've been in the motor rooms for the DC 2000s. It's the most amazing building ever, and I love it so much. Yes, I have.
So-
if you ever get a chance to like be somehow in the park at 6 o'clock in the morning when they open up, there's always somebody that goes up to the top and they open the Horton doors at the top of the tower. So you can literally, they stop, they check everything, then they go to the next floor. So it's kind of cool. It's one of my favorite things. It was
Maybe
always
later we'll bring up a question I've always had about Tower of Terror, because there is a part in the in the building of Tower of Terror that you can only see it specifically from a walkway to Phantasmic.
Yep.
And I believe now if you're Fast Pass, you don't see it because you bypass that section of the walkway. But it's like the figure in the building. And I actually didn't see it until I was a cast member and I was doing a Phantasmic tour. And that was part of the tour, that for some reason, this is something that you only see. And they wouldn't tell us exactly like what the story was or anything. They were just like, yeah, it's a figure in the window. And it's like, oh, great. So like, we're not going to get a backstory to this.
I got to crawl into that window. Like, it's like a compartment the size of my desk. And I was scared and I got in and I'm like, oh, I'm going to burn and my costume is wrecked. Sorry, costuming. Okay. I'm down here. Oh, this is like claustrophobia. It was really tiny. That's your hand. But
so he's focusing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like, what's happening?
So I'm not a big Tower of Terror fan. I never liked it. Not a fan. Don't like drops, don't like heights, don't like things.
You don't really get the height issue, but you definitely get the dropping and the feeling of going faster than gravity because the counterbalances make the ride move faster than gravity. It's 39 miles an hour. So it's
You're not
ridiculous.
helping.
I'm just sad I never got to experience Lap Bar Tower of Terror because I have friends that grew up in Southern Florida or visited when they were kids. And we have a good friend who still works for the company, so I won't say his name, but he tells us the story of when he went, and it was the last year that the Lap Bar, or the only year, I don't think it lasted very long, was there. And he said he's a very petite, little, tiny guy. And he was a child back then, so he was a petite, tiny little child. And they put him on a row with his parents and then a bigger adult. And he was like, there was literally no safety. Like my mother had to hold my shoulders down because I was just rising up from underneath the lap bar.
Oh my goodness.
So I should clarify for Brandy real quick. My job does involve me and heights. My day job does involve heights. I can deal with them.
I realized intellectually that you said your day job, but I process it as my gay job, and I want to know
my
what
gay
your
job
is.
My gay job is just my same job, Max, and you know what it is. But it usually involves a different climax.
Ew.
Ew.
Now, I feel special because I've worked at the only 2 drop tower rides in Central Florida, and I'm not counting Tampa. Because I worked at Dr. Doom's Fearfall at Universal too.
What do you define as a drop tower ride?
Well, does it go
you go
up?
up and you go up, you come down.
What's the part that you go up?
So tower starts on the 5th floor. So you either go up or
and it goes
down.
up through what, like a chain link, or like is there like a like what do you
Are
call
you
that
trying
part?
to get us trying to get us to say the word? He's gonna try and bait us into
It is an elevator shaft.
Think Charlie's band from Lost. What, they like drive something. Yeah. You all, everybody.
I mean, the sad part is you get so used to saying that.
It's so hard to keep up to this counter.
But
we're officially at 9.
As for the Dr. Doom's Fearfall, it's just a shot tower. Yeah. There's none of that on that.
I can't remember the last time Dr. Doom's was actually open when we were at Universal Orlando.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a terrible tendency to walk myself up the back of that ride. Like, I used to work here. Please put me on the ride. Thank you. And they're like,
it's not a ride. It's not the type of drop ride that I enjoy per se, but like I like sometimes for the fear. I keep forgetting we ordered dinner, so one of us has to have an ear open. And like we'll ride Spider-Man and be like, oh, let's see if Dr. Doom's is open, and it's never open. I think it's been like 10 years now since I've been able to ride Dr. Doom.
We'll fix that. The next time I'm able to go, and if we go together, we will fix that.
I've never been to a park outside California.
Sean, I'm also going to fix this for you and Jill. Like, y'all come out, please, because
Jill goes like every year to Florida.
Yeah, I think is Jill's family DVC. I think is she's DVC, right? They own a timeshare in Orlando.
No. Jill's. I think I could say this. Jill's sister is friends with Anna.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So Anna and Ariel.
Very nice.
And she's Jill's worked for the parks and stuff, so that's their thing.
Family tradition.
But I do want to. I'm going to out one of our chat members here.
Nice.
He Solid Slate in the chat actually used to have. He owns a certificate because he got a menu item, in one of the restaurants at Tomorrowland in Disneyland. I don't know the restaurant, but it was the Spaceadilla.
It's probably
Spaceadilla.
it's probably the Galactic Grill right there, which is right next.
That's it.
Right across from Star Tours. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah,
it's not
There's
there
only
anymore.
two restaurants there. It's Galactic Grill or Pizza Planet.
It's not there anymore. But
I really like the twofer of both Pole and Shaft being in the same sentence.
So is Sean a lineman, and we should the other Sean, is he a lineman, or is that you, Sean Wingblade?
Sean Wingblade, I'm curious.
Different
what do
Sean.
you? Oh, sorry, it was the lunar Spaceadilla. Sean Wingblade, what do you do? I'm curious.
Are you a lineman?
He might be a cable guy.
Yeah.
Oh, PLD, aren't you live on a show right now, PLD?
PLD's everywhere. Mess.
Hi, PLD.
I was invited on Call to Action today, and I'm like, I don't have the brain power to do any of that.
Oh no. My friend Yanni showed up in the chat. She and I actually worked in a theme park together, but it was Universal, and it was Revenge of the Mummy.
Oh, I love that ride.
Get your best throat cutting move going on.
So,
here it is.
Tree, let's hear a little bit about your love of theme parks. Where does it stem from, and what's your favorite Shaft on property?
Oh, I mean, like I said, Tower of Terror is my favorite attraction, so we can get that out of the way quickly. That is my favorite Shaft. And I will say Shaft just a few more times to see if you can keep count of how many times I'm saying Shaft right now. So I grew up in Maryland, and we actually did have a very tiny theme park called the Enchanted Forest. And if you have seen the movie Crybaby, it's actually a big scene takes place there. So that was where we would go all the time growing up. I would also go to Hershey Park a lot because I kind of live right in between Hershey Park in Pennsylvania and then King's Dominion down in Virginia. So we would hit the mid-Atlantic area theme parks. But obviously, I go by Gertie because I have a deep love and obsession with Gertie the dinosaur, who is at originally MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios. I went there when I was 5, and I just remember we were walking through that park, and we have this video of it, and all of a sudden, walking by Gertie, and you just see me staring up at this dinosaur, and I just fell in love. My memories of that trip are Gertie and the Rainbow Tunnel at Journey into Imagination. That's my first Disney memories. And so I didn't go back to Disney until I would say it was 2008. And I remember at that point in time, literally the only thing I cared about was is my dinosaur still there? And like John said, he goes into Star Wars and cries. I saw this dinosaur and I just started bawling.
Why is my name still Chris Clark on here?
Oh, goodness.
But, yay, Gertie!
Gertie!
So you can see, we can actually have Gertception if you can find how many times you see her in my background.
Can someone explain to me what Gertie is?
So she is an ice cream stand, and it's based on in 1912, 1914, Windsor McKay. It was one of the very first pieces of interactive animation. So it was just this, it's cartoon dinosaur, and then he would stand there and talk back to her, and basically he would say things, and then the animation was her kind of responding to what he was saying. So they did it in Hollywood Studios, MGM at the time, because it was part of the California Crazy, where they would have all of those buildings that were just representations of different things that are not shaped like buildings. And She has just been there since the park opened. So she actually, Star Wars almost made her extinct in the original plans for where they were going to put it. And thankfully that did not happen because, again, we're crying.
Wait, is there one? There's not one in Orange County. There's not one in Anaheim, is there?
No, there did used to be Dinosaur Jack, though, in California Adventure. He was a sunglass stand.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they did have Dinosaur Jack, which I think was supposed to be their version, which I do have a deep sadness that I never got to see before they changed it. But yeah, so like I said, Disney is definitely my main theme park, but I like going to them. And I saw there was a study recently about people who, I guess a lot of times, depending if your life seems more chaotic, you'll tend to go back, like you'll rewatch the same like TV shows over and over again because they're familiar. And I'm like, I think that's what a theme park is to me. Like I can't go all these other places, but I like to go all the time now because to me it's familiar, but then because you're inside of it, there's also a little bit of adventure each time. So I love it. And it's like the way that you guys talk movies most of the time, I was like, that's me in theme parks. This is my area of knowledge. So I'm very excited we're talking about it today.
Max, did you have something to say about that?
Well, I'm just curious for the full story, but I'm also...
It's not a sex thing.
Okay. I'd like to hear Teresa hosts a Disney podcast.
Oh, I do? Yeah, so it's No Guilt Disney.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, No Guilt Disney. So right now we're releasing every other week because since two of us live out of state and the other one who lives in state just does not feel comfortable going into the theme parks at the moment. So we're every other week we release episodes, but we do like news recaps sometimes, but it's usually just a random Disney topic. So we did one all about the Muppets and we talked about how there's almost a Muppet takeover at Disneyland and they were going to paint the Matterhorn green, which is just like, I can't picture that because it was only going to be for 1 year. They were going to paint it green for 1 year, and that was it. So I love finding out like random facts like that for the podcast. But yeah, so you can find us any place that you listen to podcasts.
I love it.
Now, Amber, you used to work at the parks. You were a former cast member.
Whew.
So reveal all your secrets.
Okay, so let's see. Do I need to give you a list of all the places I've worked? Because I've worked at a lot. The first one... Well, actually, here, let's go a little bit further back. My first trip to Walt Disney World was when my mom was pregnant with me. And then my second one was literally where I ended up at the Living Seas at Epcot. And I became friends with a random flounder. I don't know. It followed me around the aquarium. It's just a thing. But Disney has been a thing for us. I'm from New Orleans originally. So, one tourist location to the other. And it became my favorite thing. I absolutely loved it. And all I wanted to do was work there. So I did the college program in 2006, literally like right after Katrina. So yeah. But I worked at the Tower of Terror and then I've worked front desk at resorts. I've worked a lot of places, but nobody really wants to know that. You want to know the attractions. So I was a bellhop at the Tower of Terror for 6 magical months. Then I worked at the Tree of Life at It's Tough to Be a Bug, or the Tree of Life Repertory Theater, where a cast of thousands is ready to present their show, It's Tough to Be a Bug. You're welcome. I still remember that. And the lovely Festival of the Lion King when it was in Camp Mini Mickey and before it went to Africa. My very favorite show, besides Fantastic, of course. They're 2 completely different things. I worked in guest relations at both Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. So, lots of fun there. I got to meet a lot of really cool people, including the quarterback of my favorite football team, the Saints, Drew Brees. It was pretty neat. And then I worked at Universal. I opened the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, or depending on the day, Wreck It. It doesn't know what it wants to do.
I have a love-hate relationship with that ride because I have to take my glasses off. It's one of the few roller coasters you actually have to remove your glasses or they will not let you ride it. And so I can't choose my music, and Universal employees also don't have the time to choose music for you. So mine just like randomly chooses the worst stuff ever every time.
So I've never been able to ride it because it's every time I'm like, I'm the next person in line and then it breaks. I have still yet to get on it. And I did learn that there's a Muppet song like on the secret
Rainbow Connection.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I think they have Moving Right Along.
They do have Moving Right Along too, but I've ridden it to Rainbow Connection and it's the weirdest, most surreal experience ever. But now here's what we're going to do. When you guys come here, we're going to ride and we're going to ride in the front because I have rules. And then I will pick your music. I promise. I'll be like, boop, just done. Let's go. Wow. Oh, I love that Guy Fieri. Oh my gosh. And that's correct. Dana, yes, I go with Intergalactic every time. It's either that or La Disco. It's so good. And then I worked at Doctor Doom's Fearfall and the Stormforce Excelatron, Jewel of Marvel Superhero Island. And then I opened Aquatica as a whole water park. So did things, but I miss it. It's something that'll forever be ingrained in me because working in theme parks is such a unique experience. And, when I worked at Universal, we do rescuing and, you end up working at all kinds of attractions. I've worked there. I've worked at all of Marvel. I've worked at Jurassic Park. I've worked Ripsaw wearing that funny hat, or Ripsaw Falls. And it's themed to Dudley Do-Right and all these old cartoons. And I looked like a crazy person. And I worked in like the freezing cold, like it was 40 something degrees and cold water was dripping on me in the middle of Florida. And I'm like, this is unreal. Why is this happening? I've worked all over studios. It's so much fun. I think I even got yelled at for an entire night during Halloween Horror Nights in front of the train in studio on like the studio side, because everybody was mad that we were making them get on the train and go to Islands of Adventure. I was like,
What is the single worst thing a guest ever said to you?
I had somebody slap me in front of the rocket. No joke.
I wasn't expecting physical violence.
I've said all kinds. I've heard everything that you could actually imagine. The ride wasn't open. We were still doing
Me too, Brandy.
Still doing qualifying, and they hadn't gotten it open for the day. And the person goes, "When is this ride going to open?" I said, we don't really know. We don't have an ETA for that. Hopefully it'll be soon. And the person looked at me and said, well, "You need to open it right now." And I was like, "Do you want me to just make it open for you?" And then the person just whacked right across the face. And I was like, "I'm gonna go now." I just turned around and walked away. I was like,
because you were obviously just waiting for someone to ask you to open it. That's the reason it hadn't opened yet.
I have all the power. I was like, security, help. But at the front of Animal Kingdom, I had people ask me if, why we weren't letting them into the park because their reservation was coming up. And I was like, we let everybody into the park at the same time. And they got really mad and said a lot of really, really nice things to me. I had to point to the security guard again. Why is it always people who need security? Or common sense lessons? I don't know. But yeah, I met the kid that plays Draco Malfoy in Back of the Rocket. That was fun. So yeah, lots of random things. I met Brian O'Halloran. It wasn't open because no one's open. Oh, jeez. Shaft.
Ellie, you worked at the parks too.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your time there, where you worked, and what's the worst thing a guest ever said to you?
All right. So I did the college program in 2012. So I was late 2012. So it was September to January 2013. My love of Disney started from my mother, and we unfortunately were really poor growing up. And if you are a 90s child, you remember those "for the low, low price of $45 a day, you can take a family of 4" commercials. So my brother and I were convinced that we could afford it if we were just good enough. And so we spent our entire childhood trying to save for a Disney trip. Unfortunately, for those who know on the network, my mother got sick. She passed away. She never got to go to Disney World. That was one of her lifelong dreams. She never got to do it, mostly because her parents went the year after Epcot opened and took the 2 youngest siblings that lived at home. And my mother was 19 years old, so missed being a child in her parents' eyes by 1.5 years. And she never left that down and was like, I will go to Disney World. Didn't happen for her, but I got to go through NJROTC. They do a training thing in San Diego. And my commander and Master Chief used to be stationed out there. And so they knew that it was logistically possible to take a bunch of teenagers from San Diego up to Disneyland for the day. And so being from a poorer region in Texas, they always made sure that happened. If you got chosen to go on this trip, all expenses paid for the day at Disneyland. They raised the money, they paid for it because they were like, these are kids that aren't going to get that experience. So that was my first experience, was not being able to sleep in a barracks in San Diego, getting up at 3 a.m. to drive up to Anaheim, going to the parks, I wasn't allowed to have treats. So my friend, because of like rules with NJROTC, so my friends were like sneaking me Mickey bars like behind princesses and stuff like that. But I became obsessed with the parks, like fully obsessed. Like was like I have to find a way to get back. I met Max in 2008, 2009, 10. And for like before we were even dating, I think we were just friends. We went to Disney World for his birthday, or maybe it was spring break. I don't remember the first trip, but once I was we were together by then. Okay. So, but once I was at Disney World, like it was done. The pixie dust was in my veins. I couldn't get out of it. So then we were going like 5 times a year by then from New York, back when you could get the cheap $60 flight from LaGuardia or JFK on JetBlue. They don't do that anymore. And then I did the college program. I was at Agent P's World Showcase Adventure. Kim Possible was that one. I don't remember if we changed the noise for Agent P. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, because it was Doobie Doobie Doobie. Doobie Doobie Dooba.
And then coming up, it's going to be DuckTales. Like they keep changing it, and then the shows get canceled before it actually comes out as like the next thing. This is the third one.
And my problem with it too was like they promise so much for that attraction, and I think it's an attraction that's necessary, especially in World Showcase, to get children engaged in what is very much an adult theme park.
Very much so.
Because the backside of Epcot is really more adult oriented. Like that's why they made the Maelstrom into Frozen, and they're adding Ratatouille, and stuff kind of changed because it was like kids weren't like families couldn't really enjoy Epcot, and there was like having this existential thing. Like, yes, when it was built, it served its purpose of like bringing the world to America, but everyone can get on YouTube now and watch a 4K HD like video of anywhere they want to go. So it doesn't really make sense now as a theme park to have it just based in a world, but I digress. In my time at Epcot, I was in a role that they consider crowd control. So because I was crowd control and I did things like shut down the park, which meant like every night I had to walk from American Adventure around the World Showcase Lagoon and then up to the front, tagging cast members as you went, like asking, is your area clear? Is your area clear? And then giving the sign off. I think Epcot might be the only one that has regular cast members do that, not security.
I think you're right.
And so I did that. And with that, since I was crowd control, that means at Disney, you can do other positions. So I did Main Street. I did the fireworks. And then I did Hollywood Studios when FastPass had its rollout. I did FastPass rollout. And sadly, the theme parks and Animal Kingdom are the only park I never worked at. And I didn't leave until 2014. I was seasonal from 2013 to mid 2014. So
I think when you were at Agent P, I was one of your deployment associates. It happened a long time ago.
I feel bad like looking back that Agent P might have been one of the attractions that made a lot of changes happen, especially like with deployment and things like that. Because we had very old school, we had people that had been with the company for like years. I think Jack was a 25er, like Diane was like a 30 plus year. Like they were all people who had been with the company forever and worked their way up through attractions. But they were the people that like really understood the job. And they didn't always necessarily play the game. And I can throw these under the bus because unfortunately, as much as I love Jack and Diane, they are no longer with us. They were elderly people who have passed away since. But they did whatever they could to like make being at Disney tolerable and enjoyable. So like I had a sinus infection one day and Jack knew I couldn't call out because I couldn't get the points. And so Jack put me on attraction support all day, which was like supposed to be a bump position that like got traded throughout the day, but he called deployment and was like, I need this cast member to just be on this all day long.
Them? Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, all right, permed there forever.
Yep. And from my understanding, the next year I went back when I was seasonal and they were like, yeah, they don't let us do that anymore.
I mean, yeah, they did. They liars.
But I had a lot of fun. I think there's probably 2 worst experiences as a cast member. One was when I had to call security because I witnessed child abuse. If anyone has been in Norway, the old bathroom entrance is like there's a wall, there's the pastry shop, and then there's like the gate the cast members come in and out of. The new bathrooms are to the left, and the old ones used to be right across from where they are. So basically where the old bathrooms were to where now the Anna and Elsa bathrooms are, I watched a parent pick up their toddler and throw them aggressively into their stroller from that distance.
What?
And so we immediately called security to deal with that one. We were like, this is the beginnings of child abuse. We're not going to handle this. So security took it from there. And our managers actually walked the 2 of us who witnessed it off to the backstage and was like, we don't want you guys to have to deal with like going forward, because as soon as security showed up, they were like, who snitched on us? Who dared call security on how we treat our kid? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, we're going to get you off stage. Well, this like gets handled because this is going to go south really quickly if they find out who it was. And then the other was I worked Epcot New Year's Eve. As a guest, Epcot New Year's Eve is a rave in the World Showcase. As a cast member, there are very specific rules that have to be followed because of Reedy Creek's fire safety rules. And so you have to maintain exit ways and things like that. And so I was stationed from the Africa Bridge to Italy. And I just was supposed to walk back and forth all night long from the Africa Bridge to Italy. And then I got stationed at the Italy fireworks viewing plaza that they tape out for New Year's Eve on the Italy Bridge. And literally all night was just getting people to be inside of the tape. So I was walking through China and I realized this father and son not inside the tape. So I'm just like, hey, buddy, like just for your safety, can I have you step inside of the tape if you're going to enjoy the party? If not, I'm going to need you to keep on walking. And so then I keep on going. And I turn around, come back, and they're still out of the tape. And I'm like, hey, guys, I gave you a warning once. I need you to walk in or not. And the dad goes, if you tell me one more time to step inside of the tape, I'm going to drop you right here. And I said, sir, Orange County is right there. I can have the PD talk to you if you'd like. And that's when he spit on my shoes. And so then I said, all right, this is Orange County is now going to handle this. This officer will be right over to get to if you don't want to step inside the tape. And that's when I passed that one off. So I think the 2 worst experiences were the ones I did have to pass off to county PD. Like,
how many times do I have to apologize for spitting on you?
I don't know. I didn't know you were with 2 teenage boys. I think the other worst might have been I, as a runner, enjoyed the late night running parties they used to do in the parks. But I had to work a wine and dine running party. Runners get wasted. Like,
yeah, they do.
Sloppy drunk, especially because like the amount of people that is in the parks for those parties is significantly lower than any other party they do. And at Epcot, they were pretty aggressive about checking wristbands. Like if you've ever been at like Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry, they kind of like let up. Epcot management did not let up. They were like, all night long, you are stationed to check wristbands right here. So that was the night that my friend got called a Nazi. I got called a bitch. But then on top of that, we also had a guy who was in for a motorcycle thing, was like, oh, well, my old lady's not here next weekend when I come back. So like if you girls want to come. And it's like, really? You just threw it out there that your wife exists and are trying to pick up 2 20-year-olds. Like,
bleh.
So those were always fun.
I'm not a cast member, never was a cast member, but I did see one of the worst things I just saw one time was this lady was just like complaining and like profusely like just berating like an employee at the Country Bear restaurant in Critter Country, and I was like in line behind them, and I don't even remember what she was like mad about. She was just complaining about something, wanting all this off and all this extra stuff. And then when I went and sat down, I saw her and her family, and they were all there, and she was just like, I could hear her just like bragging about like how she like got all this free stuff because of how she acted and stuff. So the entire time I was eating, I was just like staring at her, like giving her just like the devil eye, and she saw me, and she knew I was like what I was doing, and I was just yeah, you can feel it. How dare you? How dare you? And then when I walked by, when I walked past them, I just kept staring at them. I just didn't even move my head.
I will say, I think theme parks bring out the best and worst in people. Like, if you're a good person, the theme parks like bring out the best of you. If you're a bad person, especially at Disney, I feel like Universal doesn't let people get away with it as easily. But with Disney's the whole like let the magic like happen, so much stuff goes on, and people just think that they can just ream into cast members and get what they want. And it's just like, that's why over the years I found out that like even not even being a cast member anymore, just a simple please, thank you. Oh, we had this issue. Is there anything you can do? Like, totally understand if you can't. You get the world for just being a decent human being.
I literally used to see so many things. Like, I saw parents putting like paper in their kids' shoes or like something in them so that they could be taller to ride Soarin', and just all kinds of crazy things. But, I have some really great moments too. Like, I had a lady come up and she had lost her ears on Everest, and I happened to be in the lobby at Animal Kingdom, and I was just sitting there talking to her, and I was like, let's take a walk. We walked out to the cart, and I was like, were those the ears that you had? And I pointed to the glittery, sparkly, sequiny ones, and she goes, yeah. And I was like, they're yours. Here. Is this what you want? And she screeched and hugged me, and like, I'm standing in the middle of the sweatiest park in the world, wearing the sweatiest costume in the world because it's made of wool poly blend and it smells like feet. And I have this adorable lady hugging me, and I'm just like, see, this is the moment that this is why I do everything that I do. I'm just like hugging her, and she's screeching, and her family's like, is she okay? Did she die? What's going on? And I'm like, it's making magic. Like, it's the good little things. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that, on the memories. I love that. Oh yeah.
I think my favorite is not necessarily a theme park memory because it's from the Disney Cruise Line. But on the ship we were on, they have a bar that is just throughout your journey, it's themed to a different metropolitan area. So if you're on a 7-day cruise, you visit all of them. If you're on a shorter cruise, you see like Milan, Paris, London. And they just change their LCD screens that get changed to make it look like the window outside is like looking out at the Eiffel Tower or whatever. But you can buy a drink passport, which is their way of like getting cheaper drinks. And they stamp it for every drink you had from around the world. And Max and I were there one night, and I just mentioned that I liked glow cubes, like that I love a glow cube in my alcohol. And so the bartender comes over and goes, do you want a bucket of them? And I was like, yeah. I was like, are you kidding? And he was like, no, if someone walks away and leaves their glow cube behind, I'm not allowed to reuse it. So I keep a bucket full, and I listen to hear if anyone is like super jazzed about their glow cube or mentions that they have children. And you're the first person who's come in who is like super jazzed about glow cubes. So would you like them? So I got like 20 glow cubes on that cruise that I brought home, sanitized, kept in the freezer forever, and then finally threw away when they lost their glow. But I love a good glow cube, and not having to pay for 20 drinks worth of glow cubes to get them was amazing.
I have the glow cube that's a Death Star. I have one that's an X-Wing, and then I have just a bunch of them, and I just walk around and I'm like, click, 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 and make them all kinds of colors and like sit here and like pretend to rave. People are like, are you okay, ma'am? And I'm like, no, I'm having a seizure. Hold on. I'm like, yeah. Just like, it's fine. Totally spastic. Oh my gosh, I miss it. I want to go back to theme parks so bad. I haven't been since before COVID. Yeah.
We had, for the long time, we had a Pascal from the Bonvoy breakfast. And then we had a Tinkerbell because Max bought me one of the like deluxe room packages for, I think, my 25th birthday. We were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And again, remember, this is a package meant for children. And so they hide a Tinkerbell somewhere in the room, and it's a glow Tinkerbell. And they put like pixie dust to like make a trail. For an entire day, Max and I looked for the Tinkerbell in the room, couldn't find it. We turned off the lights at night and Tinkerbell's like glowing. And we realized it's because whoever did it assumed it was for a child. So like put it at like 2 feet so that a toddler would be able to like find it. But we're adults like, where is Tinkerbell? Not like looking where a child might look. So
oh my
I think
goodness.
and then we had a Buzz Lightyear for a while, but I think they're significantly older. I don't think they actually exist in the. I am almost 33, so I appreciate the looking not over 24. But yes, it was quite a fun.
So we did this on a PJ Campbell show a couple months ago before we switched to the Unwind, but things change and we have new people. So what would you say your 3 to 5 favorite Disney attractions are, and then your favorite non-Disney attractions, whether that be Universal or oh,
I heard we were talking theme park.
we are.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Please indulge me with all this theme park talk because I need it in my life.
Well, so you just got here, so you get
Sam,
to
I think
share
we can
your
head out
theme
now and
park
just let them
story.
handle it.
What theme park story? What theme park stories are we talking? Like when we
Your
worked at
personal one. So like, how did you get into theme parks? What are your favorites? What is your theme park history?
So if you don't already clearly know, I am a Disney girl. I was an annual pass holder at the age where you had to be purchasing tickets to Disneyland. So at the ripe age of 3, I was already an annual pass holder back when passes were like $75, like cheap as nonsense. And yeah, I grew up, born and raised in Orange County, California. We have Knott's Berry Farm, we have Disneyland, we have Six Flags, we have like these amazing theme parks that like literally just right down the street from me. But I'm a Disney girl. That's where my heart will live and die. I've postponed my Disney World trip about 5 times now because of this freaking coronavirus. So
we're hanging out, right?
It's yeah, I'll be there in May. So if nothing crazy happens, I'm supposed to be going in May now. It went from like September to October to February to April, and now it's May. So we'll see if that sticks around. But yeah. I was gonna grab a pair of Mickey ears, but all of my Mickey ears are at my mother's house.
It's okay. Your tangled like light.
Thank you. I'm actually gonna light it.
I have my Mickey ears. They just do not fit over these headphones. I need to get like attachable ones.
I was going to go really esoteric because I have Oswald the Lucky Rabbit ears because I prefer Oswald over Mickey. I actually have a set that was really hard to get because it was before they made them in the parks. And Max knows like Oswald is my favorite, mostly because my grandfather grew up when Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was originally animated and had some original Oswald toys. So much so that our dog, the brown one that you can kind of see, is named Oswald. And so for the Gamer Conference, when they had announced Oswald the Lucky Rabbit's video game and Epic Mickey.
Oh, Epic Mickey 2?
No, it was Epic Mickey, the first one.
Oh, he was in the first one?
Yeah, because that's
the second one.
No, he's in Epic Mickey. That's the whole thing of Epic Mickey is that like Oswald is who causes the paint thing to happen. Like he's the one that causes it to happen because he's jealous that Mickey gets to like live the world, and so he's the like creator of the alternate universe.
I mean, Oswald was supposed to be Mickey.
Yeah,
and they
Oswald
made
was the original.
They made Oswald ears for that announcement, and you could only get them at the conference that it happened at. And so Max went on eBay and found them because they're like signed by the creators of the games and all of that. And so I have that pair that I don't do anything with, like it's stored away tightly, especially once the park started selling Oswald ears. And then I was a cast member when they started selling Oswald ears. So I kept, I had to like stock, yes, there's Oswald and his blue pants, not red. I had to stock the toy store in downtown Disney, which is now Disney Springs.
I love Disney
because they would get the stock of Oswald ears and they would be gone. Like imagine how the lounge flies go now and all of that. Like Oswald ears were the original, like on the shelf, gone. And they did like this big. I remember it was back when they used to have like launch parties. So they had Disney animators like out there, and if you would wait like 15 minutes, like drawing the Geisels that you spend like $60 on, they're just drawing them and handing out because they were like, today's the day. We just are like, Oswald is back. We are celebrating him in the parks. And at Disney Springs, they were just like, here's a drawing, here's a drawing, here's a drawing. And I'm like, these things cost so much money, and y'all are just like doling them out today like they're candy.
God.
So
goodness.
I used to have pictures of me with Oswald, but I don't know where they went.
I met Oswald in California when he was there, like when he first came to California for a few months.
He's still there.
But he was there and then he was gone for a bit and then he came back.
He came back.
He's
he's
not
a regular now.
there anymore. The last time Max and I went, we were told Oswald was not meeting anymore. That
he wasn't there last time
he
I
had
went.
retired.
Oh.
So Brandy, Oswald was
any
the
times I
OG
was there.
creation instead of Mickey. So, and then he was, because Walt Disney was working as an animator for, I believe, Universal.
He was for Universal.
Yes.
And
they purchased the rights. Yeah.
You learn that in traditions.
Yeah.
So when Universal took Oswald from Walt, and then he made Mickey Mouse. So it was meant to be.
And it kind of proved that Walt was the genius behind it all, because Oswald was like the animated cartoon. Like he did everything and was like all over the place. And then Walt left Universal, and Universal kept trying to like make the Oswald show happen. And like nobody remembered Oswald except for people that like dug deeper. Like in my case, I grew up with him because my grandpa like grew up with him. Like most people didn't know, unless you're deep into Disney lore, that he existed. Like, and it was because Walt was the heart and soul of Oswald, just like he was the heart and soul of Mickey. And without Walt, you didn't have those characters. Like,
it's true. Oh, I miss Disneyland. I'm in Florida. It's not as good. I'm sorry.
Oh, disagree.
In some ways, yes.
I
in some ways, no.
I think,
There's like that
I think
feeling.
Disneyland's better, but
Here's my
Depends on the attraction.
Between
attraction specific.
Between Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, Disneyland is 100% better. But but Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World, like take me to Disney World.
47 square miles of magic. I feel it. Oh yeah.
I love Disneyland, and I love going, and I love the vibe of it. But the problem I have with Disneyland is there's nothing like that really puts you in the bubble. So like when
they changed that with Batu with Star Wars, like they.
Well, I've been at that Batu, but it's still like once you leave Batu, like you can like see the freeway, you can hear it, like the hotels are like right there. Yeah. Whereas Disney World, like once you're on property, like you don't have to.
You never have to leave property
if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like,
every time I've gone to Disney World, except for the last time I went to Universal as well, I've never left Disney World property, other than to like go to the airport. But.
Yeah. Oh, so we were supposed to. What was it? Our 3 to 5 favorite Disney attractions, and then our one from not Disney.
Yeah, and I was on the show that they did this, so I can let other people go first because
I wrote mine down.
Heard mine.
I got my magical Schmodown board. I was like, look. So yeah, number one's the Tower of Terror, always and forever. My home, my love.
Which one?
The Florida one. That was my first job as a cast member, and I was like, I love it. I need to be here forever. Number 2 is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, because the people mover, the TTA, for a long time, that was my lunch break when I would go up from deployment. So I would ride the TTA and the Carousel of Progress, and I would always take a stupid TTA selfie. So that was a thing for a while. Festival of the Lion King. I already said that, but it's so good.
Yes.
So good. When I worked there, it made me so happy. It was such a wonderful place, and you get to know so many people and you get to see so many things, but I love it. Rise of the Resistance was so good. So flippin' good.
I haven't been able to get on it yet.
Haven't been on it yet either.
Our lovely friend Quick Strike True is my best friend in the world, and on his birthday last year, we definitely went. We waited all day. We rode it around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was the best day, and we literally got done with Hollywood Studios. Like, we had like 2 hours before we rode, and we were done with the whole park. I was like, yeah. And then the last one, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. I mean, yeah, it's such a good ride. I love it, but I've gotten to the point where I've gotten to go on with people who have gotten really good at it. And we end up, almost getting all 5, and we keep doing really well, and I get lots of credits. But, and then as for favorite non-Disney attraction, I have to think about this. I didn't think about this before.
So, while you think, I'll say I like Smuggler's Run, but my problem with that, I can only go on it like once in a day, because that ride gives me really bad motion sickness, especially if I'm in any position other than the pilot. Like if I'm doing one of those things where I have to look what I'm doing to the side and then look front again, I cannot. So I think it's fun and I love what they did with it, but I'm like, I physically can only ride it such a small amount.
I could probably interchange it with Radiator Spring Racers, because that is so fun.
Yeah.
I think my problem with Smuggler's Run is that it's the first theme park attraction where not everyone gets the same experience.
Yeah.
And you want to drive the Millennium Falcon. I don't want to be the engineer or whatever the back row is.
Yeah, that was me my first time, and I was like, cool. I'm going to push this button a couple times.
Yeah, and so I was the engineer, and it was just, and I've been the engineer every time I've gone on, and it's okay, this is not really fun anymore. I would like my pilot's experience, and almost every time I was numbered to be the pilot, someone comes forward and is like, "Oh, can I be the pilot?" And they just let them do it now, and it's oh, great. So I waited all that time for nothing.
I literally ran into everything as pilot, and I was like, well, I fail. I'm going to just sit back here in the back. It's fine. Bye, guys.
I'm not saying I was any good at it, but it's it's the only one because you get to face one direction the entire time. That's the only one that I can do and not.
And you actually get to see the actual adventure that's happening for you. Well, there's one where you can take it off of manual, and it's only one button that you press, and you can change up and press a whole bunch of buttons. And I'm like, nah, I don't have enough attention span or perfectionism for that, and I can't do it.
I think that's the other issue is Mission Space is similar, and Mission Space, you don't do anything that actually changes the ride in any way. Yeah. Smuggler's Run, there's not enough buildup this is the way you need to do what you're told to do in the ride to have a successful ride. And
you
so
I didn't need a master's class on how to ride an attraction.
Yeah, I didn't know you could turn, it was my second or third time riding it of the 3 times where I found out that you can turn it from manual to auto or vice versa. And it's oh, that actually makes it where you can aim and shoot if you're a gunner, and and if you're on auto, you just press the button, so you don't actually have to turn and look at the screen. Yeah. And so it's maybe they should make in all of the time you wait for that ride, or even just on the communicator app, make a this is the secret to Smuggler's Run. Do you want a high score or whatever?
That way you don't have to do your research on Google beforehand, or while you're standing in the queue, just be okay, how do I do this? Hold on. It's kind of like having to read books to fill in story. I mean, what? That never happens at Disney. Never. But
never.
I think my favorite Universal attraction is Ripsaw Falls. There you go. I was I had to think about it. Anywhere where you can be welcome to Canada. Eh?
That ride gets you soaked. Max for years was oh, we'll ride. We normally go to Universal in the winter, so it was too cold to ride it to begin with. And we went It was hot when we went, and we were like, oh, well, let's ride because there's no wait. And Max has always told me, like, you get soaked, you get soaked, you get soaked. And I was like, it can't be that bad. Like, I've been on water rides. You think you're done, and they still dump water on you coming around the unload corner to the point that, like, our team members are, like, jumping over water puddles because they know when the water is about to drop on the people that are in the unload. And it's like, this is ridiculous.
It's true. It's so true. I have stories about Universal, and I can't tell them at this exact moment because we're live and people can see this. But maybe I'll share some of them and be like, but yeah.
Yeah.
We all have fun cast member stories.
Oh yeah. I had a really good time working at Universal. I think I worked at Universal longer than I actually worked for Disney, and I did more there. Like, I was on the events team. I did the Macy's parade. So eventually I'm supposed to go to New York and actually do the parade in the streets. Hasn't happened yet because I'm lazy, I guess. I don't know. Or I work on Thanksgiving. I don't know. Something. I'm just reading the comments. Water is scary in October when it's cold.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
Tim, which are your favorite attractions?
My favorite attraction, it's not even close, is Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. It's my favorite ride. My lanyard is Haunted Mansion. It's like the wallpaper design. And it's got this little spooky guy, candlestick guy. Number 2 would probably be, I guess, Big Thunder Mountain. And then I would probably put Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout 3. I love that freaking ride, and I think I do not miss Tower of Terror at all.
I don't either.
Agreed.
I don't either.
Because that ride is amazing, and I told this story before, I think off camera to some people, but the entire year that I had my annual pass, like, of all the times we were going, we were like, we couldn't get the song "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5. Like, we would get all these other songs, and it's great. Well, the ride's amazing, but we really wanted this song. We could never get it. So then one morning, like, my friend Dan and I woke up early, and we went to the park early before our wives. I'm not married anymore, but that's another story.
We digress.
That's fine, yeah. But we're still friends. And anyways, Dan and I went to the park early, and we were like, let's go to the park early before it opens. Let's go. And we got there, and we're like, let's go ride Guardians. We got to Guardians. We got through the line, and we get into the car elevator or whatever, and they seat us in the front row. And so we're like, all right, this is good so far. We're in the front row. This is going to be great. And then sure enough, the ride starts, Rocket comes out and does his shit and unplugs the power. And then sure enough, I Want You Back came on, and we lost our shit. And like, we were talking about this recently. Like, I don't think people realize, like, because people lost their shit with us. They were like, yeah. But we were like, and we even said, like, on the ride, we're like, you don't understand. Like, this song doesn't come up all the time. Like, and then sure enough, we ended up getting that song like 4 times that day. Like, every single time we rode the ride. But anyways, that ride is great, and that song is great on that ride. All the songs are great on that ride. But yeah, I love that ride. A non-Disney attraction. When I was a kid, a couple times I went to, because I have a lot of family in Ohio, and we would go to family reunions. So we went to Kings Island, and Kings Island has the Beast, which I believe is still the longest wooden roller coaster in the world. I think it's over like 7,000 some like miles of not miles, but 7,000 like meters or something of track. It's crazy.
7,000 miles.
Yeah, it goes from it spans the entire country. But no, it's like a 4-minute long roller coaster, but it's a wooden roller coaster, and it goes back into like the woods, and it's an amazing ride, and it's got, I think it used to hold several records. I think it still might have the biggest drop too on a wooden roller coaster, possibly. But yeah, it's just a great wooden roller coaster, and I remember when I was a kid going there, it was like the thing everyone talked about. It's like, you're going to ride the Beast, and I think I still have pictures of the first time I ever rode that ride from the on ride camera. But yeah, that's a great ride. So,
I'll name a few of my favorites. Also, like Tim, I ride or die for Haunted Mansion. Any version, any park. We got to go to Disneyland Paris and rode it there, and it was so weird and different and fun. Second would be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Forbidden Eye, Disneyland.
Such a good one.
That ride's incredible. And then third, and yes, this is a bit of a humble brag, is Rise of the Resistance, because that was the most mind-blowing interactive ride experience I've ever been on. But my real favorite, because I'm old and my joints hurt, is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, because I just want to sit on that all day and go through Mickey's. But I missed the old announcement where it's like, now approaching Mickey's, you know? I don't like the new one anymore. Star Traders, yeah. But I just love it, especially like the few times we've been on it when the lights in Space Mountain happen to be on. That's always the best.
There was a cast member special event for that where we could go on Space Mountain with the lights on.
Liz and I once were on Space Mountain and the ride stopped and they turned the lights on. And there are like stopping points throughout where it's safe for the cars to stop to evacuate people off the ride properly. The rocket ship that we were in missed the stopping point by about 3 inches. And I was in the back, or you were in the back?
You were in the back.
I was in the last seat because, you know, in Disney World, it's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah.
So they had to wait for Reedy Creek Fire Department to come. Because literally it was like 3 inches off the back. They had to put everyone in the ride in a harness, and we had to be evacuated by the fire department. I'm like, I can just get out and make that little step. It's not a problem. They're like, sir, please let us harness you.
I feel like
We're putting this harness on you now.
That's I've been fire department evacuated from a ride at Disneyland before.
And honestly, I thought it was kind of a blast. Liz was having a bit of a panicky, nervous moment.
Especially because what they did was like, we were sitting there, it was like 30 to 45 minutes waiting for Reedy Creek. No big deal. They kept us like harness with the like bucket harness or the T harness in the Space Mountain. And the cast members were just chatting and they kept like running up and down, like swapping. When Reedy Creek got there, it's a grown man in front of me, and then Max, a grown man behind me. They release the harnesses and go, sweetheart, we need you to hold out while we get the guys out because it has to be done front and back.
This is
in middle.
This is an accurate quote, finally, Marcus. Normally you make shit up. So
I started having a panic attack when I was sitting there unharnessed after we had spent 45 minutes being told why Max couldn't just like let me get out and then him step forward and then step out. So then they're like, don't move. If you move, you could fall over the side and die.
So Sean Wingblade said, I missed Back to the Future and E.T. Ride at Universal. So the E.T. Ride is still there.
Mm-hmm.
The E.T. Ride is by far my favorite ride at Universal Orlando.
I think that's the only opening day attraction at Universal.
I was on that ride about a year and a half ago with James White and PJ Campbell. And the fun part of that ride is before you get on it, that you enter your name. So I put in Maxwell, James put in Gator, which is his nickname, and PJ just put PJ. So we get to the end of the ride. It's magical as fuck. And E.T. says your name. So he's like, Maxwell, Gator, Paja. He could not say PJ. He didn't know what to do without any vowels there. But, you know, obviously Disney will be number one, but I really love Universal. And the more time I've spent there the past few years, Universal Orlando, the more I love it. I think they've actually built a really beautiful resort there. Like, I love staying at one of the hotels on the waterway. I love City Walk. And I think they have some great rides. I love the Mummy ride there is incredible. Far, far better than the one in California.
Hands down.
I know everyone always says Forbidden Journey is their favorite, but I'm a Gringotts guy because I like that it's more of a track and the way it blends the screens with the track is more fun. And I'll always love that Spider-Man ride because when that ride first came out, it was just like a technical marvel, and they've updated it and it's still so impressive. They've now made like 4 other rides that are based on that exact ride system. Outside of those parks, I'll always have a soft spot for the Cyclone in Brooklyn. I've almost died on that ride 4 or 5 times, which makes it so thrilling every time. Once when I was about 9 or 10, I went with my dad, and I put my arms up on the drop, and I got jerked forward because it's a wooden roller coaster from the basically early 1900s, so it's jerky as heck, and my chest smacked into the bar in front of us, and I popped a blood vessel in my chest and blacked out for the rest of the ride. And then the most recent time I went on it, I was quite a bit heavier than I am now. You've all seen my transformation, and I fit, but they had to shove me in like they were casing a sausage into that ride. So these 2 like burly men are like pushing it closed, and it gets closed. By far the most uncomfortable ride experience of my life, but that also made it so exciting. Our friend Blue, who is also a larger gentleman, his latch came undone halfway through the ride because they didn't seal him in enough. So he was just sort of holding on. Like, don't die. It's thrilling stuff.
We left the like ride area. So the Cyclone has like a slow start, and you like take a corner before it clicks in. And so like as we're leaving the platform, Blue goes, "I'm not in," and like lifts his lap bar. And the carny goes, "It's okay, just hold it on yourself." And launched the ride.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I just.
Well, now that we live in Brooklyn, I'm hoping this summer to go back and ride the Cyclone again. There's 2 others I wanted to mention. So Teresa earlier mentioned Hershey Park. I've been there a few times. There's a ride Comet there, which is like their original wooden roller coaster that I love. I'm a big fan of like old school wooden roller coasters. And then Six Flags New England, which is in Massachusetts. They have Superman the ride, which doesn't go upside down, but it has such big lifts and glides. Like you get so much air. It's such a fun ride. I think people give Six Flags shit because the theming's not as good, but I mean, they really have some of the better roller coasters if that's what you're in for.
Yeah.
And sometimes all you want to do is been like thrown around and feel like, well, I might die. It's funny, throughout this whole quarantine process, the longer it's gone on, like the one thing I want to do more than anything is just ride a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just put my life in your hands, track, and jerk me around.
In the spring. That's why we are now season ticket holders to Six Flags.
Yeah, on Black Friday, they had such an incredible deal. They were basically giving away season passes. So Liz and I are like, okay. So hopefully this summer, even if we go twice, we will make money basically on the passes we bought.
Those are the best.
But yeah, I really want to go on a roller coaster, y'all.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Comet because that was the park, like that was my theme park growing up. Like Hershey Park is the one we went to, and so Comet, like that's probably the roller coaster I have ridden most in my life, just because of how frequently we go up there. And I think that's especially if you live in this area, for a lot of kids, like that's your gateway roller coaster. Like that's like the first one. As soon as you're tall enough, you do that to kind of get adjusted to everything. So I have lots of great memories with it.
See, like my 2 favorite Six Flags locations are closed. When I was a kid, I grew up. Yeah, basically, that's like my entire life experience. When I was a kid, we used to go to Six Flags Astroworld in Houston, and that one closed. And was right. Such a good park.
Six Flags Astroworld.
Grease Lightning was so good.
Yeah. My favorite roller coaster that was an older one doesn't exist anymore because it was Excalibur. Because that was my first roller coaster ever, was the Excalibur at Six Flags Astroworld.
That was the place. Like we would go. I went on Girl Scout trips when I was a kid, and I went with my family because most of my family lived in Houston and I lived in New Orleans. But like I loved it so much. And then they opened Six Flags New Orleans, which sadly again was taken out by Hurricane Katrina. But they had the best Batman the Ride there, and it's now Goliath at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. And I'm like, I want to go ride it again. It was so good.
The other crazy thing about Hershey Park is they literally pump the smell of chocolate in little vents throughout the park.
Well, and Disney does that too on Main Street specifically.
So,
but yes, I love Hershey.
So, we've talked about rides and we went way in depth in rides, like I said, on an episode of the now defunct PJ Campbell show, because the Unwind is the superior show because it's my show. It's all of our show, but it's also my show. What are some of your favorite eateries at Disney parks? Quick service, table service. Oh, I'm sorry, Jill. I'm so sorry.
Jeez, Maxwell. God.
I'm just trying to keep the conversation moving. I apologize.
Tell us your attractions.
I'm going to leave now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. I would have like gone with it and been like, yeah, food. Let's talk about food. So a lot
Food
of
is my favorite attraction.
I also love food as my. That's a surprise. All my attractions are just food. No. So a lot of my attractions have to do with the fact that every time I go really to Disney World or Disneyland, I go with my family. So these are like ones that we all kind of like. So my favorite ride of all time is the Kilimanjaro safaris in Animal Kingdom.
Don't
like,
blame you.
I love it. Because every time you go on it, it's different. That's what I like about it. Like one time all the lions were awake, and that was super cool because that never happens. And then another time we almost got attacked by a mama giraffe. We almost ran over her baby. Like, it's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. Like there was literally a baby giraffe in the road, and the guy was like, "Okay, we can't move." And then the mom started to like charge at us, and we were like, "Oh God, we're gonna die." But it's at a kids park. Yay! It's great. My favorite ride at Disneyland, all my friends think I'm crazy for this. I love the Matterhorn. I don't know why.
It's so good.
I like rides that make you feel like you're gonna die. Matterhorn. Every time I'm like, this could be it, and that makes it so exciting.
I like it, but it just fucks me up, man, because it's so
not
beautiful.
comfortable. Like that's I'm like, why do I like? It's not comfortable. You're jerking everywhere. It's a bumpy ride. Like you used to be in people's laps, and now you're
right.
not.
I was just saying, if you're in front of or behind a stranger, you're straddling that stranger.
Yeah, that's super awkward.
Like, hey, what's up? Just
hey,
like,
baby,
thankfully
those are
they
my
sit
legs.
there.
Let's ride the Matterhorn.
I mean, I
Like,
do
if
like
I'm
it though. My name is Harold. So.
Yeah, or if I'm sitting with like my significant other, I'm about to break their nose because my head is gonna fly into their face. They fixed it though.
If they overweigh the new cars, you can actually like come off the track in the water. And we had that happen one time. And you just kind of have to sit there until someone jiggles you back on the track.
That's why it's so fun.
come over here and jiggle the handle.
And then on the flip side, I like the Disney World version of Matterhorn, which in my opinion, for some reason, is Expedition Everest. It's like
it is. Absolutely.
Yep.
Love it. I love that
The
ride.
Yeti still doesn't work, but
the Yeti still doesn't work, and that breaks my heart. But whatever, the ride is still super cool.
and it may never work now because Joe Rody retired.
I
He's just
know.
like strobe light Yeti. I wish I could strobe my light.
It's
like
Disco Yeti. Like
It's when I heard he retired, my first thought was not what a great career you've had. Thank you for everything that you've done. What happened to that new island you were supposedly developing in the Caribbean? My first thought was, well, there goes the Yeti.
There goes
I think
the
that's
Yeti.
what we all thought.
Yep.
I
And then-
had interesting thoughts. I was like,
oh no.
Well, because a lot of people retired at the same time. Like,
Yes.
Kevin Rafferty retired
Yes, they
too.
did.
Like a lot. There's a lot happening there.
I felt like they were cleaning house a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I also am obsessed with Mission Breakout. I used to make fun of the people who were so upset about Tower of Terror leaving because Mission Breakout is just so much superior to our version of Tower of Terror. It is so good. Although I have every single time I've read it on it, I've gotten the same exact song. I have had the same song every time I read on it, which is kind of lame, but it's still fun.
Is that I Want You Back?
It's not. I couldn't even tell you what it is. If I wrote it, I'd be like, oh, that's the song again. But I also really like Test Track.
Test Track's good.
Have you been on both versions?
I have.
Okay.
I like the old version better.
Oh, really?
I do.
I kind of miss the old version a little bit. There were
I
so
like
many
the old
quotable
version
moments.
better.
I would say I like them both for different reasons, but I am so happy the Q music is different now with the new version because that was just painful.
The thing I miss about old Test Track is John Michael Higgins.
Yeah.
John Michael Higgins is great.
But I kind of like the new version better.
I like them both. Like I don't dislike this new version.
Because when it first opened, we all just called it Tron Track.
Yeah.
At the time, it was the closest thing Disney World had to a Tron ride. Now, of course, they're building a Tron ride right next to Space Mountain, which, oh, my loins are quaking to ride that one, baby.
Can't wait.
Me too. And then my favorite non-Disney, I have two. So I at Knott's Berry Farm, it's an it's like a hanging where your feet dangle thingy, loop-de-loo. It's called Silver Bullet. It's like one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. And I also at Universal Florida, Forbidden Journey. I'm kind of obsessed with because I used to be a scare actor. I was a scare actor for a couple of years, and it takes a lot to scare me. Forbidden Journey, I had to close my eyes because that whole Dementor scene scared the living shit out of me. So like that's why I love it. I'm like, it's so freaking scary. Like
it's so good.
So good.
Best use of a Kuka arm.
Yes.
Want to go to Halloween Horror Nights with you, Jill?
Oh my god! If you take me to
I love Halloween Horror Nights so much. That really Horror Nights is what inspired my new found love and appreciation for Universal. I always used to look at it as Disney's bastard stepchild. Now I don't so much because I've fallen in love with Horror Nights.
I will warn you, I am a haunt snob. So I don't get scared. I just comment on how pretty everything looks.
Do you blow kisses to people?
It's okay. Max
I don't do that.
Yeah, I just giggle. I just laugh the whole time.
But if a monster tries to scare me, I'll stop and just look at their makeup.
Well, I want to go slow because I want to take in the set design and the environments. I'm like, that's fine. You got me. You got me. Let me appreciate the craftsmanship.
I'll be like, can you just stand still?
We could do one of the daytime VIP tours where you get to go through and tour the set design.
An VIP tour.
We should do a Pajukan trip to
Halloween
Horror Nights.
Please.
We should. We could film it and make vlogs.
So I have a great story. Obviously, there was no Horror Nights last year, but the year before we were.
Well, they kind of did there at the end.
I mean, a little bit.
Mini version.
But so we all had frequent fair passes, and we went for one of the last nights, and we were in the Universal Monsters house, walking through the Creature from the Black Lagoon part.
That house was incredibly good.
It was by far one of the best, and it just so happens my brother-in-law is walking through, and the creature steps out to scare him, and my brother-in-law's like, "Hey," and he goes, "Eh?" And so they hug in the middle of the house. I'm like, did you just hug did the character just hug you?
I have a story from the
Crack me
first
up.
time they did Universal Monsters at Universal.
Oh, you're both muted.
We both muted. I'm back. It was in Hollywood, as the standalone that was there forever, and then they got rid of it. But they did it in Orlando in 2012 when I was on my college program. And the way they did it that time was that the entry started color, and you walked down an old, decaying movie theater that slowly switched to black and white. And then you entered into each scene was black and white with the strobe light that would make it to where you couldn't see anything when it went in black. And you started with the Wolfman and going through the trees, and they had different scare actors that would jump out in the flashes. So you would think it was only one Wolfman that was getting all around the room. And then you went to Dracula, and that was one where I was like, I don't know how they got around the ADA with this one, because the Creature from the Black Lagoon, you had to army crawl under because he was on top, putting his arms through netting to try and scare you. And then you went to Bride and Frankenstein, and at the very end, they were all in a room together with the 360 mirrors, strobe lights, and then they had body bags hanging from the ceiling. I started screaming when all of them came out, because they would hold them at the edge of the wall, and then they would walk towards the center. And it was it was a room where you couldn't tell the barrier. And it was a year that one was a barrier breaking scare. So there were two rooms where they didn't have anything that stopped them from getting you. And it was the Bride of Frankenstein room, because she was out just kind of walking and being creepy. And then every so many minutes, Frankenstein would run through and crash through a barrier, which would terrify you because your mind is always the barrier, they can't go past it. And he would just run straight through it. And then the last room, there were no barriers. I start screaming bloody murder because I'm just over sensory overload, and everything's going on. I don't know how to get out. All of the monsters stop, make two lines, and point at the exit and are leave, please. That is how you get out of here. Most terrifying one I've been in.
One of the first haunt mazes I worked in, we got to shove you in a morgue drawer.
Jill?
Yes.
Will you shove me in a morgue drawer, sweetheart?
If only if you ask nicely.
I thought that was nicely. I called you sweetheart. How much nicer could I be? So, Liz, you said you didn't name some of your favorite attractions. Are you the last one?
Has Teresa named hers yet either?
I didn't. Like I said, I was going to let other people go just because since I talked about them on when we did this episode before.
I will be quick about mine. Are you?
I'm going to mute.
There we go. My favorite of all favorite. Let me there we go. Now you can see me. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Doesn't matter which one. I will ride all of them. I don't think I rode it in Paris, weirdly. It was snowing, so we spent a lot of time running around Paris, Disneyland Paris in the snow because you don't get that in the States. So like as soon as snow started, we were like, snow. Tomorrowland Transit Authority. Best like comfortable ride. Just circle it, do it again. It doesn't happen as much anymore. You used to just be able to spend hours on that thing, but now they kind of make you get off and it's not that fun.
Love to know how many people have been caught having sex on the TTA.
Could you hear Max on that one?
I'm not answering that question.
Sure, plenty of
That's all I need to know.
There are only 4 cameras.
And then
You're saying there are quite a few blind spots.
My other 2 big ones. So Radiator Springs in Disneyland, always going to be great. I think it completely separates Disneyland apart from WDW. I hope it stays at Disneyland. There's been talks of it going to Hollywood Studios. And I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, keep it separate. We have Test Track.
Disneyland needs our own. We need our own staple rides. We don't have a lot of those.
This whole thing of like, the last couple of rides have been like Mickey and Minnie's Railroad was put in both parks. Galaxy's Edge was put in both.
Are we getting Railroad?
Yes.
Yeah, y'all are getting it in Toontown. Like next year.
Where?
In the back, they built a whole new place. They bought a bunch of land.
They got rid of the dancing studios.
Probably, yeah.
I think they did.
They bought up a bunch of stuff behind Disneyland to expand. But I preferred when the parks were pretty separate. So like the Disneyland kept all of the iconic old dark rides. So they had Snow White and Pinocchio and Mr. Toad, and Disney World got a little bit of the newer stuff. And so like now that they're creeping over and like bringing in like everything is at both parks, it's like, oh great. So like you're removing more and more my reason to go to Disneyland. Like, but I still love the iconics. Like I love Pinocchio's. I love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Like nothing like going to hell in the middle of a theme park.
For kids.
Yeah, right.
For kids. Not a lot of people say it, but like I love Snow White's The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think it's amazing.
I love that ride.
It's so cute.
Adults, as long as you're with 2 other adults or at least a pair of 3, so you get your own little car and you can swing it a lot.
Yep. I started doing it as if I was on it. I was like, let's go.
We went on one time, Max and I, where a mother and daughter in front of us. We don't swing when there's other people because we're like, some people freak out. And the daughter starts like jumping up and down in her seat to try and get it going. And we were like, oh, sweetheart, we can help you.
We got you.
Like, we got you. That thing hit its apex like several times in a turn, which makes it so much better.
That was one because I was working under Magic Kingdom. We got to go up and do the cast previews. So it was literally guests standing everywhere watching. And they're like, how do we get on here? And we're just like.
We did. I was a part of the Fast Pass testing, which was really fun to get to do. It's also why they sadly like have marketing material that's just a lie because they use that data. And cast members, like we were pulling like 45 Fast Passes a day on the Fast Plus system. And it was like, yeah, because nobody else is using it. Like, of course we could pull our entire theme park day, however we wanted to do.
Oh no, sorry, go.
I would say my favorite non-Disney ride is I really like Gringotts. Like I still don't know if Hagrid's is up there or not. I need to ride it again.
I've never done it.
It's a great coaster, but I think the theming that they have built up for their other Harry Potter rides, it kind of falls just a tiny bit flat in that like the others are like Gringotts, you feel like you're in Gringotts. You feel like you're in that motion and like you're in that scenes and like you're going through it. And then Hagrid's doesn't always work animatronics wise, and so to keep it running, they just stopped stopping it because of the animatronics. And it's also just really fast, and it's the concern I have with the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster is roller coasters that are supposed to have scenes. If you're not stopping in the scene, you're flying by it at 60 miles an hour. I don't know if many of you can tell what's going on outside your car, distinctly in high detail, but thinking that that's what we want out of roller coasters is okay.
Is that what they're changing Rock and Roller Coaster to?
No, they put where Universe of Energy was in Epcot.
Yeah. And so Disney says that their version of it, because it's almost like they're directly competing with Hagrid's in the style of it, is that Guardians is supposed to slow down for scenes and then speed back up. So I guess it's closer to Gringotts because that's what Gringotts does.
I want to see the animatronics, dang it. I want to see this stuff.
Gringotts, you slow, you lock into a scene, you do the scene, and then it relaunches you back onto the track out of the scene. And stuff is built around it that makes it just never turn around backwards, because then you'll see that the rocks are not all the way to the end of the building. I think everything so far that Universal's done in the HP world has really just been, that's what's pushed them beyond just being Disney's not as successful competitor.
That's the only reason why I went to Universal was because of the Harry Potter stuff. To be completely honest, that's the only reason why I even went.
It's the thing that saved them.
Yes.
We went, but I've noticed it's not just that. Skull Island, I love Skull Island. The King Kong attraction is amazing. And I think those are the ones that they've really, it started with Harry Potter and it's trickled across into these other attractions that they've realized you can't just put a screen on an arm and go through it, even though they use a lot of screens still. They've now figured out how to put that in an actual moving ride.
It was they figured it out, but then they did the Fast and Furious ride.
That's what Max said. He said except for Fast and Furious,
they figured it out, and it's okay, step back.
We did the backlot tour in Hollywood, which is where the Fast and Furious came from.
Mm-hmm.
And it works in that context because you're in the thing and they're this is how they would shoot this. We're going to lock into this rig and you're going to do it. They took the same exact technology and did not extend the screen at all. So when you're on the Orlando one, you're I am literally on an arm that's just a bed truck that's just going. And so it's come on, guys. You couldn't take the 2 seconds to do the engineering to make it where we weren't aware that we were on the rig, because where you took it from, you're supposed to be aware, and you made an attraction where you're not supposed to be aware. And yes, all of us want to go to a party where we get shot up by the FBI.
Always. It's always the pre-show stuff is good. The queue and the pre-show is amazing. Then you make it onto the ride and you're
we went through for the queue and the pre-show stuff because we were we want to see Dom's car.
I like that ride. I am a nerd. I love Jimmy Fallon.
New York, so I can take a taxi ride through those places if I want to on any given day.
Completely fair. Completely fair.
So food.
All right, I can go first. I can tell you the one thing, the restaurant I know as soon as I get back to Florida, the first place I'm going to book is Sanaa at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, specifically for their bread service. Literally, that is all I need. It's so good. If you've never gone, like I said, it's slightly out of the way, just because I think what Disney does well is the resorts definitely have the better food options. So it's one of those, if you're not a person who needs to spend all of your time in the theme parks when you're there, which I get because I have a lot of trips like that. But if you want to just get away for a bit, or if you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Sanaa is probably one of my favorite restaurants down there. I cannot wait to go back to it.
It's so good. So good. I love Sanaa. I was thinking about the bread service, and it's the big one, right? The giant one.
You can only get that now. I think they only do the that you can't pick the smaller set of the dips. I think it's just you get all of it now.
Yay!
I have many thoughts on Disneyland food. I will try to keep them concise, but let's just shoot some out here. We got these steamed buns at the Tropical Hideaway in Adventureland. They're amazing. We used to go get them for breakfast because they would actually start serving them as soon as the park opened, but now they do not anymore. So we had a tradition that we called it the breakfast bow. We go get our breakfast bow, and usually we would be able to get the first Dole Whip of the day. So we get like a pin, as his first Dole Whip of the day.
Where again is the bows? Because we've been to Disneyland quite a few times, and bao is my favorite food. And
it's newer. It's at the Tropical Hideaway, which is the newer little area they created by the Dole Whip and by the TV
We hung
room.
out there after a day of D23 last time.
So there's a little bao stand in there that serves little steamed baos, and they're great. They have like a beef, a chicken, and a vegetarian one, and they're all incredible.
Bao is my favorite thing in the world.
And then let's see, we got award wieners in DCA, the hot dog stand. They have great hot dogs all across the board, and they always have a special hot dog. My absolute favorite food in Disneyland, well, aside from pickles, because I love pickles, but Disneyland pickles is something I eat like throughout the day. I'll have 2 or 3 pickles. But I love the cozy cones from the Cozy Cone Motel in Tarzan. I mean, it's a cone bread bowl, and they put you can get chili, you can get mac and cheese, you can get bacon mac and cheese, or if you ask someone, you can get chili mac and cheese, and then they always have a special one as well. So that's great. And then I think if I'm talking like food, I would say Carthay Circle is probably the best. If you can't get into Club 33, if you can't get into Club 33, which most of us can't, it would be Carthay Circle. And then I also really, really, really like the Lamplight Lounge brunch that they do on the weekends. Is absolutely incredible as well.
Teresa, you should share our Lamplight Lounge story.
I was gonna say I would love the Lamplight Lounge, but
It was, so we, when we back at D23, the last time they had it, we went to the Lamplight Lounge to get some food, and there was a piece of string that was part of like the packaging of my food that was still served with my food. And I remember there I was getting ready to eat. I'm like, something is not right. This is not. It was so late in the day. I think they did eventually bring me another one, but it was so late at that point, and we were so tired. I was like, the park was closing. World of Color was playing, which was great. That was actually really nice, being able to sit down and watch World of Color from inside the restaurant. So that part I loved. But yes, that was like the first time I think at a Disney restaurant where I had to actually send the food back, because I'm like, this is not an extra, adornment to my meal that I requested.
Lamplight has a separate room you can request if it's available, and it's it's right next to the launch point for the Incredicoaster. It's like it's off on the water, and
I still surmise we had a bad experience there because Brandon Hanna was with us. I mean, they knew he was coming.
That's the only meal I've eaten with him, and that's the only time I've had to send food back.
Another thing that's food related for me is I love to drink in the parks, and Disneyland specifically has a special relationship with my favorite brewery in the world, which is Bottle Logic. And so you can get several Bottle Logic beers in DCA. All of their special stasis releases are available in Club 33 in Disneyland, which is amazing.
Tim, please tell us more about Club 33 and if you can go.
I haven't been there. My best friends got to go.
I went when I was 7. Does that count?
And they said it was absolutely amazing, incredible, and I hope I might have a chance to go at some point in my life, and that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, is that Chris Clark?
Who is that?
So the first thing I would like to talk about is Tonga toast.
Who's
making that noise?
What is that noise?
That's why I say, is Chris Clark joined or something? Because
Is Chris Clark here?
Chris, are you there?
No, he's not here. Not anymore. Tonga toast is a type of French toast that you get at Kona Cafe at the Polynesian Village Resort. It is spectacular. I have the recipe. I don't quite know how to describe it other than it's spectacular. Of course, a good Dole Whip. Who doesn't like a good Dole Whip?
I don't like Dole Whips.
Well, okay, that's one person.
I prefer a Dole float.
No, of course, I like a vote. You haven't, in my opinion, you haven't fully experienced Disney World until you've gotten the kitchen sink sundae at Beaches and Cream, which comes with a whole can of whipped cream.
A whole can.
Yeah. But in terms of restaurants, I tend to stray fancy. So I'm a fan of the Yachtsman Steakhouse at the Yacht House.
I love the onion rings. So
Porterhouse.
Tiffin's I really like.
Oh, I love
at Animal Kingdom, and the Nomad Lounge. I don't know how I said that first. Lounge. The Nomad Lounge is like my favorite place to get drunk and hang out in all of Disney World. It's so relaxing.
Tell us your alcohol story.
No, I won't. Not on it. I really like Jico, the cooking place at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most recent time we were there, we ate somewhere that we hadn't before, and I was kind of blown away by how good it is because it's much different on the inside than I expected. It's Flying Fish at the Boardwalk, which
that?
from the outside, and the name, I just figured it was like a place you go to get like fish and chips and stuff, and it's not. It's actually a really high-end seafood and steak restaurant. And it was packed, and we were exhausted because we had run the Universal 5K that morning. We had spent all day at Epcot. We were ready to pass out, but we were staying at the Swan and Dolphin, and we needed food, so we figured we'd go to the Boardwalk, and they were able to find 2 seats for us at the bar. And the bartender waiter was incredible, and I had this steak that was so juicy. It was just such a great experience. And it was a nice surprise because, it just goes to show you can't always judge things from the outside. But California Grill is good. My dream is to do Victoria and Albert's one day.
Mm-hmm.
I like Narcoossee's. There's so many good restaurants.
We can just never get a reservation at Victoria and Albert's.
But I do agree that at least as far as table service is concerned, the resorts have the best restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Although Tiffin's, like I said, I think might be, and I also love the Hollywood Brown Derby. It's very much the Florida version of Carthay Circle.
Mm-hmm.
We always make it a priority to go to the Hollywood Brown Derby.
It now has a Club 33 in it.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll go to 50s Primetime, but just because I like the peanut butter and jelly shake. Good stuff.
Yes. Like, I have a whole list. I literally do. Okay, so every year for my birthday, I alternate. My birthday is in March, and I go to Ohana and Boma in alternating.
When is your birthday in March?
March 9th.
Oh, I'm March 21st.
Yay.
If we were vaccinated, I'd say we'd go for my birthday, but we won't be until Max's.
I can't wait.
Yeah, those crack noodles at Ohana.
Mm-hmm. Those noodles are my favorite part. And the bread pudding.
Oh yeah.
Right. Raglan Road's bread pudding is better though.
It is.
Bread butter
with
pudding.
the white chocolate.
Is amazing.
God,
Yes. I love Ohana, but Raglan Road, for the longest time, Raglan Road was one of my favorite Disney restaurants, and I don't know why it does not get talked about more, but it's fantastic.
It really is. And the entertainment is good. Yes. It's not on my list because I don't think about it as like, it doesn't.
There's so much new stuff there too. So I'm like, I haven't gone back because Disney Springs has like every single time I go, there's like 3 new restaurants.
Right?
Yeah.
But so I have a list, and I have them for like all of these parks. Ohana is my favorite. It always has been. I've had all the wings at all 3 restaurants, including the luau at the Polynesian. But their sticky wings at Ohana are the best. Boma's amazing. They do this curried pasta salad that you can sometimes get down in the quick service at the Mara, but oh my god, it is so good. The African gumbo is delicious. It's so dope. Olivia's is awesome at Old Key West. Nobody really knows about it. It's such a hidden gem. And I have had some of the best dinners. That's where I take my husband for his birthday, which is August 29th. So there you go. 50s Primetime, I was going to mention it because peanut butter jelly shake and the sampler with the fried chicken, the meatloaf, and what is it?
The pot roast.
Yeah, the pot roast. How did I forget that? They also do like a pot pie with just a random pastry on top of it. It's so good.
And if you get an aunt or cousin who actually plays along, we weren't allowed to have dessert until we named 5 presidents with an H in their name.
My friend Elizabeth worked there for the longest time, and every time I'd walk in, I'd be like, "Loopy, what's up?" And she's like, "I need them in my section," and I'm like, "Perfect, let's go." There are pictures of her holding my friend's kids. It's insane. QSR, I have to give props to Satuli Canteen.
Oh yeah,
so good. the bowls are just perfect. I've not had that. Their food is so good, and it's higher quality than just getting, your typical chicken nuggets and french fries.
Yes.
I'm like, yes.
The cheeseburger bows that taste exactly like McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yes. Sunshine Tree Terrace, if for Dole Whips and orange swirls, I'm like, yes, those are magical. And I put peaches and cream on there because I used to work at the Yacht and Beach, and I used to go and sneak in and go get ice cream and run away and go back to work. And I was like, yeah, it was so good.
Yacht and Beach are my favorite resorts.
I have never set foot in Stormalong Bay, but one day it will happen.
Yeah, that's a big reason why is that pool is amazing.
A mini water park. It's a mini water park. It's our pleasure.
It's just right there in your backyard.
But Disneyland, I'm a corn dog addict.
I feel like that was an opportunity for Marcus to put a quote in. It is our pleasure to service you, Amber.
Yes. Like corn dogs, I literally sat in the middle of the 60th celebration right before watching Paint the Night and Disneyland Forever and just happily ate a corn dog, and I'm just like, I'm in heaven. This is where I belong. Blue Bayou is amazing. I'm from New Orleans, so of course I want to go to Blue Bayou. And if I'm talking Universal, Finnegan's is the only choice in my opinion. I love Finnegan's.
So Finnegan's is where we always will wait before Horror Nights for the Stay and Scream.
We need people to get in line for Stay and Scream like 30 minutes early so we can go to Finnegan's. Because they won't take reservations anymore for Stay and Scream. And so the first year we did it, we missed out. And so we had to sit on a curb and wait and drink beer. Oh. And so the next 2 times we went, we got in line literally for me to then run to Finnegan's and be like, I need a table for 4.
Universal food is interesting because I don't think it's as good as Disney, although I like Mythos a lot.
I haven't been to Mythos.
One of the newer restaurants at City Walk, Big Fire Grill, is pretty good if you like meat. But honestly, my favorite food at Universal you can really only get at Horror Nights, and it's pizza fries.
Pizza fries are dope.
Pizza fries are amazing. Yes. I was so sad that Horror Nights didn't happen this year that I was making my own pizza fries at home.
And it was weirdly hard to get French fries from the frozen department during
early on in the pandemic. It was tough, but pizza fries, man, I don't know what they do there, but it's magical.
Now, I have a question for everybody since we're talking about Universal food. What is your preferred butterbeer?
Like frozen or what?
Frozen.
Because there's frozen, there's the warm, there's the regular, but then there's also like the ice cream and the fudge. Like, what is your preferred butterbeer method?
Warm.
I haven't had any of them because I haven't been to Universal. Harry Potter's
warm
been
butterbeer.
So pizza fries is where they take French fries and then they put mozzarella cheese and sausage and pepperoni and smother it in tomato sauce and then bake it. So it's sort of like a French fry pizza casserole thing, and it's magical.
We have a chain here that does pizza fries.
Ice cream butter. Oh wait, no, we had ice cream butterbeer on our honeymoon, not at Universal, at the Wizarding World Experience.
The WB Studio Tour in London, where they have all of the sets and stuff.
That one was amazing. And since we were on VIP, I was like, "Can I get a free extra scoop?" Which they did. Their VIP is really cool because you get like a traditional British lunch on your VIP tour that includes butterbeer and butterbeer ice cream.
Oh God, we got to do the taste testings when they first opened the Wizarding World. So we got to go in, we get to do all like the restaurant testings at the Three Broomsticks, and then the head chef was letting us try different foods, and it was pretty good. I was like, okay.
I will say, Three Broomsticks and the Hog's Head are probably like, besides Mythos and Finnegan's, are like the only place to actually eat food in Universal. Because like even their quick service is kind of meh.
The Universal Monster Place, I always want it to be better than it is.
Yeah, it's true. Not bad.
Although I have to say, I do enjoy Universal's pizza more than I enjoy Disney's. I don't like those little pizzas. I've never liked them. But I can go to Louis or Four Cafe because I've worked right next to Four. Yeah, they do big pizzas. So they do a bigger slice. But I always get like a single slice from Louis or from Four, and it's really good.
Very, very safe. That you can get a cup to refill all day.
Yes.
Although we'll see what happens in post-COVID times. So we're coming on the 2-hour mark. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about before we say good evening and good night?
My favorite foods that are gone and you can never get anymore.
Go for it, Joe.
It's like I also have a food that doesn't no longer exist.
So I'm not saying this just because I worked when I was a cast member. I worked at the Cove Bar, which is now the Lamplight Lounge. Cove Bar will always be superior to Lamplight Lounge. I'm sorry. My all-time favorite food at any Disney park location was the chicken quesadilla rolls at the Cove Bar. And they did not bring those into the Lamplight menu. And it is complete BS because I liked those better than the lobster nachos. Fight me.
The lobster nachos went downhill. They
did because at Cove Bar,
even towards the end of Cove Bar, they went downhill.
They did. I agree.
I stopped ordering them.
I agree. But like the Cove Bar days, you would get one where it could literally feed a family of 4.
Yeah,
and now they're like, here's your little handful of lobster nachos, and it's like
my thing with lobster is like I'm the type of person that doesn't like lobster mac and cheese, lobster nachos, or anything like that because I feel like it's a protein that should stand alone. Like, don't smother it in cheese.
Although the cheese on the lobster nachos was really good.
It really was.
It was pure cheese. It was good. I will also say my favorite drink, which never gets talked about because it's hidden, is at Disney World in the Japanese pavilion of Epcot. You can get a green tea colada, and it is delicious.
I do
my favorite alcoholic beverage at Disney World.
I didn't mention I do love teppanyaki at Japan at Epcot.
It's so good.
Very good. There's a drink that you can get. I don't even know what we were doing, but it was like some violet sake, and I went with my friends Megan and Dana. And,
the sake tasting place in the Japanese.
They were doing it out at a cart, so it was out in front, and I was like, "This is delicious! Hello, give me more!" And I saw it on Instagram that day, and we worked over by SeaWorld, so we were like, "Hey, do you guys want to go to Epcot after work, and we can go get this violet sake?" And we were just like, "All right, we're going. Let's go." So
During the festivals, they used to sell sake flights where you can get the frozen beer toppers, but they stopped doing it because they quickly led to more adults being inebriated.
That's the only way you can do Epcot is inebriated.
Hey now, no, hey, that is fighting words right now.
No, I know. I always do 2 days in Epcot. One where I actually like ride the rides and do the shopping, and then one where I only eat and drink food. That's all.
That's fair.
There was one festival of the holidays. It was 2012 where they did Christmas sake, and they were just Jolly Rancher sake. So it was red and green. You just tasted sweet, no alcohol. And I had just those 2 shots. That's all I drank in Epcot that day. And I was on my ass by the time I got to France. Like,
that's the best. That's the best times. Yeah, if you guys go to Lamplight Lounge, I know all the people there, and they can double pour your drinks for no charge.
That's what we do at Paradiso at Disney Springs.
Lamplight Lounge, I will say, Lamplight Lounge has a exclusive beer from a very elite brewery called Horus, which is incredible. I haven't actually had the beer because they happened to. We knew it was coming one weekend we were there, and I talked to the bartender the day of, and I was like, "Yo, man, when are you tapping the Horus?" And he was like, "As soon as this one runs out, I'm not sure when." And then they literally tapped it that night. And my friend was still at the park, and he's like, "Yo, man, you can come and drink some of this Hawk." And I was like, I don't feel like doing it, but I haven't had it yet. But it's supposedly incredible.
Well, let's see. My favorite thing, and this is still there, but going to La Cava del Tequila in the Mexico Pavilion and getting the flight and just being like, it's fine. Let's just do this thing. Let's go.
I like the avocado margarita.
I have
take a picture with a manager and tweet it, and if you get 20 in a year, you get your own tequila glass.
Ooh. Yes.
So the glasses in the back that are etched for the longest.
You're muted.
We're muted. Neil Patrick Harris has one, and his husband has one, and a few other, and I think like John Stamos and stuff. But for a while, if you Instagram, tweeted, or Facebooked a picture with a manager 20 times in a year,
oh my God,
And it had to be with a purchase. You couldn't just go to Cava and like take the photo. You had to make a purchase and take the photo with the manager, like with your drink or your receipt or whatever. They would etch you a tequila glass and keep it in the back for you for your next visits. I don't know if they still do it. This was like back in 2013. I tried. I only made it to 5 in a year.
So speaking of Epcot, I do have a possible closing question for everybody. Do you start in Canada or you just start in Mexico?
France.
That's it, right? It depends on which way of the park I'm coming. Yeah, so if I'm coming from International Gateway, I definitely go towards France first and then making your way like towards Mexico. But if I'm coming from the front of the park, it's Mexico first and then
I feel like Mexico is always my first if I'm drinking. If I'm walking, I start the other direction because I'm like, I'm not touching any of that. We're just going to do the thing. But if I'm drinking, it's Cava first, and then we sloppily make it around. And there's almost always a stroller or a wheelchair involved. And don't ask me why.
If we enter from Future World, it's Mexico and around. But most of the time, we're coming from the Swan and Dolphin. So we come through the International Gateway and we start in France.
I like to throw a wrench in the whole thing and take a friendship boat to Germany and start from there.
For me, see, I'm a weirdo, and no matter if I'm eating, drinking, or just shopping, I always start in Canada, even if I'm drinking around the world, because I'm apparently a psychopath, and I like to finish with tequila shots and a nice warm Mexican meal. So
that's not a bad idea, though. This makes perfect sense. See, you've taught me better things, better habits in life.
You can also take a boat and start in Morocco if you want to.
I do like Morocco.
I'm just gonna Skyliner it up. It's fine. Let's go. Let's go right.
I haven't been on it yet.
It's bustier women. If you want a double pour and you are a bustier woman, try and find an ICP who is pouring in Morocco.
You're not wrong.
I don't know why it is what it is, but every single time.
This is definitely the best answer. I parachute in and start random.
There you go.
That would be Dana, who went to go get the violet sake with me. So
that would be Sean's approach. He's just jumping out of an airplane. Today we start in.
I'm trying
Norway.
to convince him to come with us when we go in May because we got a suite at the Art of Animation.
Yes.
Which one?
Epcot with Ted.
I think we're in Finding Nemo again.
Ooh, I want to go with. Awesome. I want to go with you guys. That sounds fun.
The table beds are actually comfy.
They are. So we have a suite. So Sean could come with us, and I'm trying to convince him to come.
Tell Sean if he goes, I'll go.
I have a Disneyland trivia food question.
Okay.
Hopefully, just Disney nuts here know it. What very famous food?
I already know the question.
Was birthed in Disneyland at Rancho?
Doritos.
Yeah, Doritos. Yeah, Rancho de. Well, it's not Rancho. It's now Rancho Zocalo, but it wasn't Rancho.
My other favorite bit of Disney history lore is that the Beatles broke up at the Polynesian.
They did.
Yeah.
They did indeed.
One thing that I wish Disneyland had continued in its history is like there used to be the Frito Bandito in the Western. I don't know why I can't remember my lands. It's been too long. Frontierland.
Frontierland. Yeah.
Like, they used to go hardcore on the sponsorship and be like, Fritos wants a Mexican restaurant, give them a Mexican restaurant. Or like there used to be a bra store on Main Street.
That's the one with that's the only place on Main Street that has a porch with chairs.
Yeah, I would love to like be able to go buy a bra at Disneyland.
Has any of you ever gotten their hair cut on Main Street?
No,
I have not.
Max did.
No, I didn't. We were just watching our friend do it.
Oh wait, you just got gelled.
My friend was getting a cut. I was like, go ahead and style it up. And then they put Mickey Mouse glitter in your hair all day. So that was fun.
I was like, I've gotten pixie dusted at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Main Street will pixie dust for like $15 because they actually use colored gel to do it. So
Yeah.
they charge you for like the
Well, I think this is a good point to wrap it up for the evening, but we could definitely do a second edition of Pajukan Talks theme parks in a couple months. Maybe we'll talk about our favorite hotels, or maybe we'll come to you live from the Magic Kingdom. Who knows what magic we may hold. In the meantime, thank everyone for watching. Amber, where can everyone find you online? What do you got to promote?
Woo! I got a lot of stuff going on. So as you can see, this lovely name right here, Takara Kanashi on Twitter, Instagram, Stereo, Letterboxd, or Teriyaki Chicken if you're Ferris Mathana. I'm on the Let's Get Ready Network doing LGR Reviews WandaVision. Our episode, thank you, Brandy. Our episode 7 just dropped today. It's pretty awesome. I open it by singing per Justin. We're starting the gold standard. That's going to be our first class league show. Me and ASG, aka Andrew, are going to be hosting that. And with Bedore and Adelia, we're doing the Night Sisters. Right now it's stereo exclusive, so it's only 2 of us. Because I tried to do it yesterday, and I just was like, you know what? I give up. I'm just going to comment, and that's how I'm going to be on the show. But we're going to be swapping out. We do it every 2 weeks, so it's going to be awesome. And, of course, things like this. I'll just show up everywhere. It's fine. I'm the new PLD.
Awesome. I'm particularly excited for the gold standard. That sounds...
That was my name. I was like, the gold standard. There, it's named.
As far as I know, it's the first officially announced show specifically focusing on the First Class League.
I'm so excited about it.
So that's going to be great because, I don't know, I feel like there's going to be a lot of really interesting people in the First Class League.
Yeah, I've heard about a few of them. I don't know.
Liz, where can everyone find you online? What do you got going on?
Nowhere. I hate saying that because I am private on social media. So if you actually know me, you can find me at my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I sometimes am on PJCN, sometimes not. So I pop up like
Takara Kanashi. Dave.
Takara Kanashi or Teriyaki Chicken, whichever one you want me to be.
Tim, where can everyone find you? What do you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter at tfranco84, which is the year of my birth, so it means something, right? And you can find me I'll probably be on the watch along more than likely tomorrow. That's the plan. And we have the added to the playlist Pop Punk Edition on Wednesday, which will be a lot of fun. It'll be Matt Maxwell, myself, Sean Sullivan, David B, who's in the chat, Dan Nye, and James the Gator White. So yeah, it's going to be a big panel, so we'll have lots to talk about.
That show is going to be at least 3 hours long. Just
yeah,
warning you all.
It's going to be. Yeah.
Teresa?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm on Twitter mostly at Gertie the Dino, so I just filled in the rest of it there for you. And like we talked about earlier, the No Guilt Disney podcast. So we just released an episode this past Wednesday, so we will have our next one coming up, not this coming Wednesday, but the one after.
Very nice. Jilly, what you got going on? I know you're quite the busy gal.
Just a little bit. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Jilly Marie, 2 I's, 2 E's. You can also catch me over on the Certain Point of View Network. We are a Schmodown after show. We do our big live shows are on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We also do live reactions to every match the day that they are released to the public. You can also catch my show with myself and Molly Damon, Happy Hour with Jill and Molly. Our next episode is going to be on March 20th. It's our St. Patrick's Day episode, and we are going to be joined by Adam Collins and Marisol McKee. Sean created our cocktail for that episode. It got me drunk within drinking one of them, so it's going to be a fun time.
I've been on the record as saying this before. Happy Hour with Jill and Molly is the best show on the internet.
Thank you. Thanks. It's
the
fun.
only thing that comes closest is my own show, Voxbox.
Also, I was gonna say you can also catch me sometimes just walking into Voxbox. So
that's true. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Cinemaxwell, Instagram Cinemaxwell Inc. As Tim said, tomorrow night we got to watch along of these 2 movies. They are on Disney Plus. We'll start an hour earlier than normal time because it's a double feature. Wednesday, Suddenly Soundtracks Pop Punk. We will have Front Center Mez this Thursday with our guest Christina Sajou. We'll start promoting that tomorrow. And Book Nook 2 is next week, next Tuesday. So you still have time to get a copy and read the book if you haven't yet. Children of Blood and Bone. On behalf of all of us here at the PJCN, thank you for unwinding with us. We will see you next time. Stay safe, and please, please, please wear your masks.
Please leave this office.
Do we get any sort of souvenir?
Get out of my office!
I'll be back.
I gotta pay.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. He's the info.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Heavy is the head that eats the crayons. I'm gonna take a nap. See you in 10 hours.
Dude, I almost had you. You almost had me. You never had me.
I like your style, dude.
End of line.